Yeah, I mean, you had 2 touchdowns, but they didn't count. I mean, what did we just watch there? That was like disgusting. And I thought when Kirk Herbstreit said, when they were just showing that carousel, the picture of the Bears in the carousel, and he said a cycle of dysfunction.
Yes.
I think that's a perfect way to describe it. That's what it's not only been, the last 12 years, but it was that way of just today, where everything seemed like it was maybe going to go right, and then it would go bad. Then it maybe going to go right, and then it would go bad. It was awful. Just 2 bad teams playing against each other in bad weather, and the Bears just really showed you how bad they were, because the Seahawks are not that good.
All right, so now that the reactions are in and we had the confirmed cycle of dysfunction comment, this is the Great Clips postgame show presented by Sony Pictures Wonderverse Chicago and TimberTech Decking and Railing. Man, guys, I just don't know here.
Yeah, when you watch this football team, they showed you exactly what they are tonight, right? They showed you what they've been all year. And when you're watching it, and Pat talked about they took the touchdown after Curran's holding off the board. That's 4 points, right? They lose by 3. And I hate to say this about the defense after they only gave up 6 points. Credit to Eric Washington's crew. First time he went against what you wouldn't consider an elite play caller, and they did pretty well, right? But when Tremaine Edmonds drops that pick, you know what I thought to myself? They're going to lose by 3. That's exactly what I thought to myself at that moment, right? I didn't know what the score was going to be, but that's what I thought when I watched that game. And then you just think about the big picture you guys are talking about. Everybody deserves better than what they're watching out there at Soldier Field. Chicago deserves better. Caleb deserves better than the coaching staff he's gotten. It's not on Thomas Brown. He came here to be the pass game coordinator, didn't get to install his offense. The guys that kept showing up there in the suites, I'm sure it's comfortable. Right? I'm sure you got good food. I'm sure it's warm up there in the suites. The suits look nice. Now fix the damn team. Right? It's getting frustrating already watching these guys play football like this. And we laugh and we joke because you laugh to keep from crying. But that's disgusting what you're watching there. There's 10 losses in a row. Caleb's pissed. I'm glad to finally see some of this team mad finally. Mad, not getting to the podium and saying, well, it was the coach. It's everyone's fault but us, right? What they showed you tonight is exactly what they are. And when they kept panning to the suites up there, which go for about $30,000 a game, get the team fixed.
Olin, I appreciate your and your passion. Olin Kreutz joining us as well. Olin, forgive me, I didn't see you on our Zoom chat earlier, so I was just making sure. But I appreciate that you guys bring it every week on this show. You've had 3 games in 11 days. They've all been losses. And yes, it was nice to see at the end of this one, you saw the frustration out of Caleb Williams. Let's just examine this last drive that we just witnessed. Again, the decision-making comes into play. The end of game, something's on the line decision-making, and you see what happens. The punt team rolls out. The Bears fans are booing, appropriately so. You can see Caleb Williams doesn't know what's going on. He looked disgusted. Then they decide to have him come back out, and you go through what happened.
We've seen that before.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. We've seen this before. We've seen this movie before, and it's just hard, right, Pat and Leila? It's hard to go in on Thomas Brown. Like that's not the job he signed up for. He wasn't going to be the OC to get to install his system. And then when he just started being OC, they installed him as head coach. Right. And I don't know what kind of help he's got there up there. I don't know how he would have put together his staff. So, but no, again, it wasn't handled well. Again, the players have got to be frustrated at that moment. Why is there all this motion on 4th and inches? Line up. Put your pads low, get pad on the pad, drive your legs into a guy, give the ball to Roschon Johnson, and let's get the first out.
Yeah, Olin, I'm with you, man. It's just they try to pretty it up too much, and they did it earlier in the game. I think it was a 3rd and 2, and they got stuffed. Right? They ran a little just a play up the middle. It looked to me that Roschon went to the wrong hole. It was a hole to the right that was open, but I don't know. Just the game plan was ugly, obviously. And then what's going on there at the very end? I think it was 40 seconds to go. They let 17 seconds run off the clock. And I understand, Olin, it's not all on Thomas Brown, but a little bit's on Caleb as well, that he was in this situation before in Detroit a couple weeks ago. When the clock's running like that, get the ball snapped. Get it out. Get it out. You wasted 17 seconds there to run a play, and they didn't even call a timeout, but just to run a play and throw it out of bounds. There's a lot of stuff at the end of the game. I wish everybody was better at it. Caleb included, coaches included. just everybody on the field just have more urgency, and it just doesn't seem like they're getting it. It just, man, that was just one ugly game. I think we all tweeted or texted the yawn gif or whatever. It was just bad football, and it's embarrassing for those guys. And Olin, I loved your passion there of calling out the people upstairs, because it's on them, man. That graphic that they showed of the carousel, that was embarrassing.
Yeah,
I mean,
go,
that's
man.
like,
Yeah,
it was
let's go.
embarrassing. It was embarrassing to me as a former player to see that they're poking fun. They're making fun of our organization. I can't stand that. That's just, and then Olin, you tweeted, I think, something, they're showing James Harrison highlights. Why are they showing James Harrison highlights during a Bears Seahawks game? That just tells you how bad this team is and where we are. And it's just, yeah, that carousel of whatever you want to call it, of non-progress, just that ticked me off.
Yeah, the fact that we're now a joke, and don't fool ourselves, right? Like, my name is associated with the Chicago Bears, even though I do radio now for the Score, but it's just, you get disgusted watching it, man. You get disgusted being a part of the losing. You get disgusted watching this stuff, and then it's just they're up there in the booth, and then you hear about Ryan Poe saying that some of this is the problem of the installation in camp. Throwing Shane Waldron under the bus. Like, when are you going to understand that's not winning football?
Right.
When are you going to understand that up there in Hallis Hall? That you keep blaming things as you go along, right? Like stop mentioning people who aren't here anymore. Get this stuff fixed. Everybody should be on that field trying to put a better product out there for the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. And they're not doing that right now, right? They did the same, like I tweeted out those 7 plays. At that time, it was 7 plays. It was just the whole season in 7 plays, right? It was the whole season of that offense. And look, with the young quarterback struggle with the blitzes today a little bit, yes. Did the O-line struggle picking it up? Oh, I'm shocked that the 3 backups on the offensive line struggled against the Seattle Seahawks blitzes today, right? Actually, I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. The 4 backups on the Chicago's offensive line, 4 guys who weren't supposed to be starting, struggled tonight picking up the blitz. Caleb Williams, a young rookie quarterback, struggled picking up the blitz. Here's an idea. Line up and be stubborn with the run. Run the damn ball on the night it's raining at Soldier Field. Find a way to win the damn game, right? Find a way to get it right. Find a way to put the ball in the end zone once. Find a way to beat a Seahawks team that looked like Geno Smith couldn't even walk on his left leg or throw the ball.
That's it for me, is how many times are we seeing more of the same? I think what's most insulting was seeing that whole sequence on the Bears' final possession where they don't know if they're going to kick a field goal or go for it. And then you see the clock run down, like we mentioned. Caleb Williams, who leads the league in sacks, as we have discussed time and time again, takes 7 of them. And so not only is the end of game apparatus and the decision-making apparatus still confusing, your crowd is actually telling you what they want you to do. You're seeing fight out of some of the players, but then you're seeing the same result. Turnover to end the possession for the Bears. The game ends. And I know you guys are full of the fire and the passion and you bring it every week, but this is one that they could have won, at least for the people who stayed and wanted to watch the game. And you're right. There's Ryan Poles sitting up behind his Elizabeth Taylor White Diamonds filter. It was raining so heavily. Just nice and cozy up there watching from above while we're all watching what the guys are going through down on the field and what the crowd is watching. How many sad kids did you guys see in the crowd today? It's just incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, it's a bad Christmas gift they got, right? I'm sure they got tickets yesterday and they said we're going to the Bears game, and they're like, well, that was a terrible Bears game. And Olin, man, that's a great point about the run. They only ran it 23 times. They had to throw it 28 times kind of there at the end, but DeAndre Swift rushed for 12 times for 53 yards for 4.4 average. So there were some, if that's something you just want to grind out and make that game ugly, it might have changed that game a little bit. I wish I would have seen that more. I'm going through the stats here. And Torrey Taylor punting 7 times. I mean, I think I got excited. I might have liked the game because all the good punts, but that's disgusting and not supposed to be happening. Just an awful game. 5 for 15 on 3rd down, 1 for 2 on 4th down. Total passing yards is 76. It's just, sacked 7 times. Just an ugly game. Ugly game. God darn.
Yeah, it was an ugly game, and it's just been an ugly season. It's been a horrible 10 weeks to watch these guys go through this. It's embarrassing to watch a OC get fired. It's embarrassing to watch a head coach get fired. You watch a young quarterback that you want to see get developed, that takes steps, right? And then you watch him put up 3 points today at Soldier Field. And that's what we're talking about going into this game, right? It's like great passes, and there's a third down pass to DJ Moore. There's these wild plays, right? But the consistency of playing the position, I can't tell, to be honest. I can't tell if it's the young quarterback or is he getting coached or is the chaos just finally got to him. There's no way to properly analyze him from the outside looking in. There's no way to see if there's any growth, if the team is getting better. There's no way to guess that what is actually affecting these players, right? Is Tremaine Edmonds having a bad year? Or is it just Coach Eberflus is gone now, and what does he do? I don't know. What is he being asked to do, right? Cole Kmet, the offensive line, Caleb Williams. I don't really know what's going on up there at Hallis Hall. And again, when they kept showing those guys up there, in the suites, I kept thinking, man, you guys have a big responsibility to get this thing going in the right direction because you've been selling us a lot of stuff for 3 years now, but all you've done is gotten worse. All you've done is gotten worse in 3 years. You have the worst record in the NFL. Every year is an embarrassment. You tanked it your first year, your second year. Now the third year was supposed to get better, and it didn't. So it's just you don't even know how to analyze this football team anymore when you're watching these games. But the frustrating thing is this: the same things keep happening, right? No one's fixing the problem.
This is the fourth nationally televised game, correct? And they've all been an embarrassment in some sort of way. Mm-hmm. They've all been a debacle in some way that the nation has watched it and said, whoa, these Bears really are terrible or embarrassing in some way.
Mm-hmm. Well, the London game, technically, not an embarrassment and nationally televised.
True. Yeah, but that's a London game. That was a home game for them.
Correct. So there's one. And it wasn't even on American soil. So,
you're being too positive, Leila. I don't like that. I don't like that. We need to be negative tonight. We need to be hard on these guys because this is just 10 games in a row. And this is one again. Like I said in the pregame, I truly did kind of believe they could win this game because I just watching the Seahawks, I just thought they weren't that good. I thought they were in a kind of a bad division, traveling to Chicago, and obviously the Thursday night game turned out to be 6-3 final. But I did think the Bears had a chance to win, and it's depressing. It really is depressing, and I don't know. The Bears got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do.
Yeah, you said, Pat, right? You gave your reasons of why you thought they'd win. The first one you said is that in the red zone, Geno Smith turns the ball over. That's the first thing you said in the pregame show. And there it was on the first drive, right? There it was to pick the ball off, get the ball to your offense, but instead you give 3 points. And it's harsh because you only give up 6 points all night, but you lose by 3.
Yep.
Right? Like losing teams find ways to lose.
And players are supposed to make plays. Like I talked about Tremaine Edmonds. He's been a disappointment this year because he got paid a lot of money to come in to be the leader of this defense in the middle. And he has not done that this year. He had a decent year last year, and I thought maybe he'd get a little better, but I think he's regressed. And that's a guy you give a lot of money to, you look to in the locker room, you've anointed him captain. He's supposed to make plays in crunch time and help you win games, and he drops an easy interception. And yeah, it's just that sums up the season right there. Your players that were supposed to make plays have not been making plays.
Yep,
true. And poor TJ.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Leila.
Oh, no, I was just saying, poor TJ Edwards is flying all over the field, trying his hardest. You see that. Kyler Gordon did what he could. Hell, he tried to make a touchdown happen out of nothing, but when you're talking about a couple of efforts here and there compared to me, one of the most egregious things was the defense watching Geno Smith run and slide for a first down. They're just watching that play like spectators, and we're there with them. I realize he's the quarterback, but once you become a runner, you're allowed to do something about it defensively. And to me, that was pretty egregious as well.
Yeah, it's a great point, Leila, and it have Kirk pointed out, right? Have the announcer say, I don't really know what these linebackers are doing, right? And I don't really know what TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds are doing. The quarterback has broke the pocket. Let's get him on the ground. To have a former quarterback, a guy Kirk Herbstreit, who tries to protect the quarterback most of the time when he's doing games, say that, it's crazy to me. And to point that out, like what are these guys doing? Get him on the ground. But again, it just seems like these Bears, this culture that they've built up there, Pat, it's going to find a way to lose games, right? And we can go through the whole game and break it down piece by piece. And you know what? You're going to come up with the same answers you came up for 10 weeks. They're doing the same things.
Yep. And not all 11 are running to the ball. That's the thing. I remember like in special teams, we have a deal, and I think they did it with defense, that if you're not in the end zone camera, when they zoom in at the end, that's a minus. You've got to get to the ball. And that's just, you don't see everybody running to the ball, flying to the ball, and getting there. And I I do want to see that play to see truly what the effort was. It didn't look great. I can't call it the team is quitting yet because they're still fighting, but they just make dumb mistakes and put themselves behind the 8 ball, and they kind of kill themselves that way. But I wouldn't say, Olin, I don't know if you agree or not. They're not quitting. They're just playing bad football, and there is a difference.
Do they have the guys to do it, right?
Right.
Do they have the right guys? And we talked about Andrew Billings not being there. We talked about Pickens being inactive tonight, right in the middle of that defense. But again, I have a hard time just like laying into the defense. They gave 6 points. Right? They gave only 6 points. I talked about it's the first time Coach Eric Washington wasn't going against an elite offensive play caller. Wanted to see what he looked like, right, against Grubbs for the Seahawks. And I thought Grubbs struggled tonight too with his calling his run plays and not getting the ball in the end zone and making it. But as far as that goes, man, you're just waiting for, like you talked about, Pat, in pregame, Tremaine Edmonds, the amount of money he makes. You're waiting for one of these guys who make the money to make the play, right? To whom much is given, much is expected, right? And it's just the fumble, right, was actually caused by Jalen Johnson that they picked up. Jalen Johnson punched it out. He makes a play there. We don't move the ball, but just the offense, man. The offense couldn't get anything going tonight to win the game for Chicago Bears.
Well, I also want to ask you too, one of the things that's been bugging me all season, and it was very much on display this past game and tonight, was what we saw as far as the sacks, particularly on third down. That was a major, major piece of this game. Seeing how Seattle would blitz on third down, this is something that other teams have done before. There's been a blueprint there. Or there were a lot of coverage sacks, it seems. And I'm still always wondering, how did the receivers who were so good, like DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze, always this covered on third down? Like, how is that exactly happening? But to see what was going on there, I thought was also pretty obvious. Like, not just sacks, but sacks particularly when you have a chance to move the chains, and the team wasn't productive.
Yeah, and guys, early in the year, there were stats about Caleb being good against the blitz. And so you want to talk about regression. I mean, is that regression there that he's been struggling against the blitz lately? And Olin, that's a great point. We don't know what's going on in that young man's head. What is causing all this? He might just have chaos going on in his head, from 3 different offensive coordinators to uncertainty of the line to, he was off with Rome a couple throws. We don't know, but he used to be good against the blitz, and that was, we would give him props for being good against the blitz as a rookie quarterback, and now he looked confused, inaccurate as well, and just did not look good at all today.
Yeah, they had a good plan. They had a good plan to keep him in the pocket, to mush rush him, right? To send guys at him from different angles. You talk about who's the blitzes and him struggling. Of course, Pat, like you put on film what you are. You put on film what your answers are, and they talked about, right? When you're listening to the announcers, they get to talk to the coaching staffs, and they said we're going to take away his first read. So then now they know where he likes to go with the football. We're going to make him go somewhere else with it. We know what blitz is. We know where he likes to go with the blitz. So we take that read away from him when we blitz him. And, like on the one, Larry Borum had a sift protection where he has to take the most dangerous from the linebacker to DN. He did a terrible job there, right? You got to take one. You can't take 2 of them. Then you confuse the quarterback. You got to be really take one and take the chaos out of the quarterback's head. He knows where the pressure is. Take the most dangerous guy. But even with that, you can say, okay, well, if you watch that play in slow motion, Rome Odunze is running like an 8 to 10 yard stop route. If Caleb hits his back foot and just throws it out, it's not a sack. Right? So it's the two things are always happening. The offensive line, not a good showing tonight. The one thing that Ryan Poles is going to have to consider when he rebuilds this offensive line, if he is the guy to rebuild this offensive line, is what the New Orleans Saints did with Drew Brees. When your quarterback's a little shorter, you got to make the middle of your line really strong, right? They can't allow pressure. They can't allow push. Tonight, I thought we saw a lot of push in that middle of that offensive line, which throws a shorter quarterback off. And then just something, when they build their offensive line, they might have to build it a little different for this guy so he can get the ball out.
And you know what else? That's going to make games like this in December, when that humidity and the cold sinks into your bones, it might be easier to take as a young quarterback, but you're going to need that line to block for you as you get older, because I know it's harder when you're not, a 6'4" guy like Justin Fields, for example. December hits differently. You guys know that better than me.
For sure.
Yeah. It does hit different, and it's just disappointing to not be able to trot a downhill running back out there, right? In a game like this where it's raining, where it's
Right.
ugly, it's just disappointing not to get under center and do some power running, right? Try to win the game ugly, right? Try to win the game by running the ball downhill. It seems like our only answer right now is, these screens that we pop out to DJ Moore. And credit to DJ Moore, man. He's fighting out there, getting screens, trying to get extra yards. He took a lot of heat for saying, thinking about vacation. Doesn't look like he's thinking about vacation to me. Looks like he's getting after it on the field, and we always say it in the locker room, Pat, right? I don't care what you say, I care what you do.
Right,
So
right.
watching him play, no, he's doing it. But these pressures, these sacks, one of the biggest problems, Leila and Pat, is getting to 37 plus, right? Like we got to keep it manageable. We got to be efficient on first and second down. But again, man, we're breaking down a game of a team that's just lost 10 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are a lot of problems there.
And it's not fun.
No.
It's not fun to do this. It's just this whole opening segment. I think the biggest thing, Olin, is you talking about and me talking about just the upstairs guys and the embarrassment as a former player. It's not fun to hear the national broadcast making fun of your organization you played for. That's embarrassing. That hits to the bone a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cycle of dysfunction, man.
Yes.
At some point, Ryan Post. At some point, Kevin Warren. At some point, George McCaskey. Like, enough's enough, man.
Yep.
This is enough. Like this is the point right here. We're all at that point. Like you guys need to get this fixed, right? Like a lot of people tie their week, tie everything to watching the Chicago Bears play, right? Like I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting texts from my sons in Florida who are down there for the Citrus Bowl. They got a team in Illinois is going to play, and all the Chicago kids are watching it. What the hell's going on with this team? What the hell are they doing, right? And even when they when Gordon scored, they were excited, right? Boom! I got a text. Boom! They take a win any way they can get it, Pat. It's just at some point up there, somebody has to say this is enough, and not make any excuses. Just we're gonna get this fixed.
And what makes it so bad, too, is they came out this year and said, our plan is in action. We've got it set up. We're ready to go. We're ready to win now. And you come out and you still have a 10-game losing streak with a team you said you built to win with right now. That says a lot about what's going on at Haugh Hall.